Man, let's just be open and honest about all this. Y'all are the ones that fucked all this up. Every last one of you motherfuckers that was out there focusing on Brian Kohberger, calling Brian Kohberger incel, digging deep into his life, talking to fat chicks he used to bump around with off Tinder. Y'all are the ones that fucked this up. I'm thejbgunner. This is Crime Time. Today we're going to be talking about Brian Kohberger and the fact that this week we'll decide whether there's going to be cameras in the courtroom. My prediction is there will not be. Let's get into it. Let's get it done.
Bring it back.
Now, I'm well aware that many of you guys want to know why I don't make that many videos over here anymore. Here's the reality, is that there's not a lot of information when in regards to this case. There's not a lot of news in regards to this case. Now, I get it. All the grifty type YouTubers, they're going to, come up with 2 or 3 videos a day rehashing the same old shit. I mean, literally, if you look at all the YouTubers still covering this case, they literally are just recycling shit each and every day that we've already covered with this case months and months ago. That's the truth about this case right now, and everybody else is just trying to keep the views coming. Me, I don't care as much. Before we get into this, though, I'm going to say first and foremost, thank you to everybody that supports this channel or any of my other channels, regardless of the method you choose, whether it's Cash App, Patreon, Venmo, PayPal. Truth is, guys, I couldn't do this each and every day as often as I do without you, the Gun Squad. Appreciate you guys very much. If you too find my content valuable, feel free to hit the links down below. Join the Gun Squad today. While you're down there, do yourself a favor. Find some of my other channels, my news channel, my live stream channel, my gaming channel. That way, you can still see my content, considering I'm not posting over here every day. Let's just call it what it is, man. The only news with this case right now that we've seen is basically motions going back and forth. And right now, the big argument is whether there's going to be cameras in the courtroom or not, live streaming here's the truth. The YouTube podcaster part of me wants there to be cameras. I can admit that. However, the reality is I don't think there should be. I've said this over and over again because you guys, let's call it what it is. Brian Kohberger is not going to get a fair trial. There's not a jury in the world that can be put together that hasn't already heard of this case. Most importantly, been on the internet and seen the super sticker train or anybody else in this genre, including the Coopin' Doopers, the all of those people that get on national television or on here and attack this man without really there even being any real evidence pointing to his guilt. There's a very small, microscopic amount of trace DNA, touch DNA that they found on the knife sheath. That doesn't prove anything. There's no other evidence at all. Him driving his car at night does not mean he killed somebody. His phone pings doesn't really mean anything because there's a 27 square mile radius. There's just nothing specifically pointing to Brian Kohberger's guilt. And I've said this. Truth of this is I wish Brian Kohberger was the killer because the current situation is as if he's not the killer, or if they do go to trial on this, I believe he's going to walk free. So either way, whoever killed these 4 innocent people in Moscow, the reality of this is that their killer's going to walk, whether it's Brian Kohberger or someone else. I hope it's Kohberger, and I hope they have more evidence. But like I told you guys this entire time, and you guys argued with me, they're not going to have more evidence. That's the reality of this situation. And we've learned that through the discovery that has been presented, and basically Brian Kohberger's own lawyer saying there's no connection between Kohberger and these people. There's no DNA in his car. You got to ask yourself, think about it. Think about what the coroner said. The coroner in the very beginning of this case said there was blood everywhere. You're telling me that the killer did not drag blood out of that place anywhere else, not in his car, not in his apartment, not in anything? If saying Kohberger is the killer? the reality of this is there's just nothing there. And as time progresses, you're finding out that my initial statement that the affidavit was going to have majority of the evidence in it, you're seeing right now that that's definitely the case. I told you guys almost a very long time ago, almost a year ago, that in general, that affidavit is going to have 85 to 95% of the total evidence they had. The only thing that wouldn't be in the affidavit would be things that they find after the arrest. It's just the truth. But anyway, so what are we talking about today? Let me go ahead and get this shit off of here. I gotta get ready for my live stream here in a minute. Idaho murder suspect Brian Kohberger could be kept off television after lawyers from both sides call for a ban on courtroom cameras. Attorneys on both sides of the forthcoming murder trial have asked the judge to limit camera access to the courtroom. And here's the reality. If both sides are asking for this, there is a good chance that it'll be like the Lori Vallow case where it'll just be audio or something of that nature. Why? Because the prosecution doesn't want it and the defense doesn't want it. So that only leaves John Judge, the judge in the case, that means the only thing that he would take into consideration is potentially the victims' families. 2 of the 4 victims' families have said they do want cameras, but here's the ultimate thing. If the judge believes, as I believe, that the cameras in the courtroom risk Brian Kohberger not getting his constitutionally guaranteed fair trial, then the reality of this is that he's probably not going to let the cameras in. Most importantly, even if you look at it from the prosecution's aspect, the prosecution is saying, well, it could put witnesses in danger. Now, I don't agree with that because ultimately, if you believe Brian Kohberger is the killer and he's already locked the fuck up, then the reality of this is there's no reason. I don't believe the prosecution side of this. However, with both of the sides saying we don't want cameras in here, I lean on the side that the judge is going to side with them because there's no real argument other than you people. And let me tell you people something. You're not, and I don't care how entitled you think you're not entitled to get to see this trial. It is a public hearing. That does not mean televised public hearing. In America, people, the trials are open to the public. But that, once again, does not mean it needs to be broadcast on television for all of you people. I think a lot of times you guys mix that up by saying, we're the public, we have the right to know. Then take your monkey ass to Moscow and go watch the court. But you're not entitled for it to be broadcast like a goddamn game show on television. You're just not. Who the fuck are you? And that's the serious thing. Who the fuck are all of you nosy cocksuckers? This shit ain't free. You ain't guaranteed. You ain't entitled to this shit. This man's life is on the line. This is a major case with a lot on the line here. You think people give a fuck if you get to see it or not? Who the fuck are you? Anyways, last month, Kohberger waived his right to a speedy trial. Originally set to begin on October 2nd, is now unclear when the trial of the alleged killer will begin. Lawyers on both sides of the upcoming trial, Mr. Kohberger, have asked TV cameras to be restricted in court. And y'all did this, but y'all send in court TV and they keep, y'all are the ones focusing in on Brian Kohberger's dick and all kinds of shit. Y'all are some creepy motherfuckers. In late August, Kohberger's defense team asked Latah County District Judge to bar cameras from the courtroom, claiming the coverage would violate the accused constitutional rights. Bill Thompson has now responded by citing his own concern about the media presence during the trial and requested the judge at the very least remove cameras during the testimony of a number of young and vulnerable witnesses. Some of those witnesses, including the 2 surviving Idaho housemates who lived there, 3 of the 4 victims were, we already know that. In addition, and at least partially as a result of the substantial traditional and social media coverage, certain witnesses have already been subjected to threats and harassment, including physical intrusions directed at not only the witnesses and other university co-eds, but their extended families and friends. That's right, because you fucking people are weirdos. You internet people are fucking nut jobs. You all think you're goddamn detectives. You all think that you're gonna solve the case. You and some dude dressed like a clown. You guys think that you guys are gonna break the fucking case from your closets and shit. It's absurd. At Kohberger's and Raymond and May, the judge entered not guilty pleas, blah, blah, blah. We all know that. He told you motherfuckers not to focus the camera. They said to do a wide pan of the courtroom and not to focus it on Brian Kohberger. But now, the victim, the witnesses, Dylan and the other one, you people are trying to reach out and communicate with her and her family and all this. You guys are fucking weirdos. Weirdos. Following his arrest, Kohberger said he is looking to be exonerated. We already know all this. We get all this. So it's just kind of, you guys will fuck this up. Judge in Idaho murder in the case with Kohberger asked press to back off and questions whether he can trust the media to do the right thing. The answer is no. The media is fake news. These YouTubers are fake news. They're all fucking fake news. No, they all want the money. They all want the views. They all are attention whores. The Idaho judge in the Brian Kohberger murder trial is asking the media to back the fuck off as he's criticized their coverage. Kohberger is charged with 4 we already know all this. Judge dismissed the hearing without making a definitive ruling because they did go on Wednesday. Yesterday, they did have this hearing, and they both argued their cases, and we'll get to that here in just a second. The judge in this case is asking the media to back off after he criticized their coverage of the case. He refused to give a definitive ruling on whether the trial could be televised, but I assume that ruling will happen this week, right? Judge presided over a hearing Wednesday where a coalition of media members alongside the prosecution lobbied to have the trial photographed, televised, and even live streamed. The judge said the media has pushed the envelope with its coverage of the case and questioned whether the media has a right to intervene in the trial. No, they don't. He dismissed the hearing without making a definitive ruling. Kohberger was in there and all suited and booted, which pisses them all off. Defense attorneys for Kohberger lobbied for either the cameras to be removed from the courtroom or at the very least put in a different location, with worries that the proceedings could turn into a circus. He cited the O.J. Simpson trial of the century, the judge did. He says, if anyone watched that case, it was a circus. And he was right. It's not the same media it is now as it was 10 years ago with social media. That's true, because we didn't have social media during that trial. And that's the thing. Is with so many people, not just traditional fake news media covering it, now you just got any fat motherfucker in their living room or in their dining room or whatever, making videos and accusations and digging into people's lives. All of you people think you're fucking investigators and detectives. You all just like to dig deep. But then as soon as somebody digs deep into your life, you say that they're doxing you. You see how that shit works? You guys love to dig deep, but then when I fucking run a background check and dig deep into your life, you're doxing me, JB. Motherfucker. It's absurd. It's almost insane. To be perfectly honest. But we're going to jump on into this. We're going to go ahead and jump into what News Nation is saying, because they're always on some bullshit. Here we go.
Anthony, and more recently, Alex Murdaugh. The list of high-profile televised murder trials goes on. But will that list soon include the man accused of murdering 4 University of Idaho students in the middle of the night? Prosecutors and the defense team for Brian Kohberger today argued against cameras in the courtroom during a hearing. But the families of at least 2 of the 4 victims tell News Nation the trial should be televised, should be as public as possible. News Nation senior national correspondent.
Now, where I do agree with the families is this. The families have said that there's already so much secrecy in this case. That's why they believe it should be televised. And I do got to admit, there's been a lot of secrecy in this case. And I do think that if the cameras are not allowed, all the news and YouTubers are going to do is make shit up anyway, which pretty much would have the exact same effect as if the cameras were in there. Maybe even worse, because they could just make up whatever the fuck they want to make up, right? They could just tell you all kinds of shit. Like, they can go on and on and on about the goddamn ladder on top of on the side of the house. It doesn't even go, it isn't even tall enough to get to the fucking roof. To the outside Santa's window. I watched the clown motherfucker yesterday legitimately go on and on about that goddamn ladder forever. And then was talking about tunnels underneath like, these motherfuckers are nuts. Man, they used the tunnels, and they used the tunnels, and they got into the basement of the house. There's not a basement in the house. There's probably a secret basement, he says. A secret basement? You think there's a secret basement? And there's motherfuckers crawling through the sewers like the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and shit, and then using a ladder man, fuck. These people are weird. People are fucking nuts.
Brian Enton is live outside the courthouse in Idaho. All right, break down what each of the sides were saying here, what the families are arguing, and when will the judge make a decision?
Yeah, perhaps what was the most interesting today, Elizabeth, and this hearing just ended behind me about 15 minutes ago, is what the judge said. The judge over the case, Judge is his name, doesn't seem to be much of a fan of the media. He says he's concerned that cameras in the courtroom lead to a circus-like atmosphere, that it's a spectacle. He actually used the O.J. Simpson trial as an example in court just now, saying that it totally spun out of control because of the cameras in the courtroom. And he said he's less concerned about the reporters who were actually inside the courtroom taking notes and the photographers in the courtroom, and he's more concerned about social media and people who...
Kohberger, boy, he looks confident, man. He looks confident. Kohberger looks confident. I like it.
Manipulate the images and sort of try to tell their own story of what really happened. A lawyer who represents the media spoke to the judge and said, look, the concern... Oh,
these clowns are wearing the mask. Oh, man. Ann Taylor, you done lost my goddamn respect. This bitch is in here in a damn mask. Oh, man. Oh, man. I don't even want to cover this case no more. I don't, you know what? Kohberger's gonna get found guilty, because if you're stupid enough to put a fucking face mask on your face 3 years after the goddamn pandemic, you're a fucking jackass. You're a fucking jackass. I ain't got time for this shit. Yeah, no, he's got a stupid fucking attorney now. I see this shit now. Fucking nut job wearing a mask. Nobody else is wearing a mask but this fucking clown.
Concern is if you don't have cameras, that then those people on the outside, the people on YouTube, and the people who manipulate things can manipulate it even more. It's sort of like they're functioning in a vacuum without any real way of knowing what happened inside the courtroom. Responsible news consumers have a right to know exactly what's happening and to see the trial in real time.
So I bet you that bitch done went and got her 18th booster. Ah, man. Like, the minute I walked into court and my attorney was wearing a mask 3 years after the pandemic, I'd fire the fuck out. Nah, we gotta get a new lawyer, because you're clearly a fucking dummy.
Time. You brought up the families. Two of the families, the Morgans and the Gonzalez's, have both said publicly that they want the cameras. They feel like there's already been too much secrecy with this entire trial all along, and they want it to be open and public and transparent. I spoke to Steve Gonzalez, Kaylee Gonzalez's father, about what he thought. Take a listen.
The community needs to determine who this individual is. You cannot ask for the community to do the death penalty without their vision, without their support, without their understanding of all the aspects of the case. It's more than just the jury members. It's the community. It's a message for everybody to understand.
What?
In Idaho, this is how we work.
You drunk, Steve? The fuck is going on? Am I the only one that can... he's had a couple beers. He's had a couple of beers, clearly.
To me, the courtroom is truth in action. So why do we hide that?
So the judge did not make a decision today, Elizabeth. It's unclear exactly when he will make a decision.
Crazy fucking world.
Go back, review what both sides have said, review what the attorney representing the media coalition had to say today, and then we'll issue a decision later. Elizabeth?
Hey, Brian, did the families have a chance to make their feelings clear to the judge?
What? Stop.
That's a really interesting question. And when I talked to Steve Gonzalez, he said that's the reason that he was talking to me, and that's the reason they actually issued the statement, because they felt like that was their only way to communicate to the judge and the prosecution. They say they weren't asked what they thought about any of this, but they're hoping by talking to the media, at least they'll be part of the conversation.
I find that really difficult to believe they're victims in this case, and that nobody would take
Everybody's a victim. Everybody's a victim. We got
into account how they feel. And by the way,
no, the case needs to be run legally, and it doesn't need to take into account how fucking people feel. Facts don't give a fuck about your feelings. This case, they don't need to take it into consideration. To be honest, the only two things that matter right now are the defense and prosecution. Do you have the right guy in custody? Right now, Brian Kohberger matters. Because what if he's innocent? And here's the thing. In our country, you are innocent until proven guilty. You are.
the least amount of spectacle is to have a single camera in the courtroom so everybody doesn't have to run in and out of there and, create a lot of made-up stuff.
Then don't make shit up.
Thanks so much for watching.
Then don't fucking make shit up. That's how you do that shit. Now, guys, if you look right here, there, the docket over there on Twitter, he's doing great work. Reply to interveners' opposition to motion to remove cameras from the courtroom. I don't really have a reason to read this. You guys pretty much know what the ultimate argument from the defense is that these people are focusing on his dick, crotch. You pretty much know what the media and the cameras and the YouTubers and the ticker-tockers and all these jackasses are out here doing. They literally are taking every aspect of this case, every aspect of every time you even see Brian Kohberger and breaking it all the way down. Let me show you something. In fact, let's just go to X real quick. Because listen, even as the judge has made the ruling not to focus on Kohberger as much, like literally, you look right here. They're still doing it. Cameras right on him. Okay, well, so why she's not wearing a mask there? I'm a little confused. Or is that not the same bitch? I don't know. So, is this today's hearing? Okay, I'm confused about when she was wearing a mask. Okay, maybe if this was yesterday's hearing, maybe she wasn't wearing a mask. Okay, maybe I was wrong. Good. Fine ass don't need to wear no mask anyway. Good. I'm glad to hear that. I'm glad to see that. No, I don't feel like, no. But I know I saw one. No. I know I saw her wearing a mask in that other fucking, this is today? I don't think this is today, man. I don't think this is today. I guess it could have been. They should put a camera in the back of the courtroom to limit the sensationalism. I would be okay with that. I think that wouldn't be too bad of an idea. Okay, see, now this is, so which one is today's hearing? Oh, okay. Which one is today's hearing? Oh, yeah, it was yesterday's hearing. Yeah, I don't fucking know. I don't care. At the end of the day, if she's wearing, just the fact that she was wearing a mask makes her a goof, period. I don't care which hearing it was in. It was still this year. If you're wearing a mask in 2023, just you're a fucking clown. You're a clown. I'm just saying, you're a pussy and a clown, period. All right, guys, let me know in the comment section what you think. I know we want cameras in the courtroom, but should there be? When it comes to Brian, and look, hopefully this is the last time I have to mention this in a video till they make the ruling. My prediction is they're going to take the cameras out of the courtroom. And if that's what it takes to get Brian Kohberger a fair trial, even though I still think it's hard to give him a fair trial, I say they should go ahead and take the cameras out. What do you guys think? Guys, if you like what I do here, you find my content valuable, feel free to hit the links down below. I love you guys. I'm going to get over here to my other channels. Got a live show to do, a couple of them today. I will see y'all when I see y'all. Next time there's some sort of news on Kohberger, which it's not that often. I'm out.